Recently, Thunderfoot made a video called The Craziest Guy on the Internets, starring the winner of the 2010 Golden Crocoduck Award, NephilimFree. Now, I admire Thunderfoot's videos, and his choice of a candidate for the title of Craziest Guy is a solid one. But I'd like to propose another YouTube personality whose lack of sanity approaches or possibly exceeds that of the creationist from Mississippi. A man who actually finished ahead of NephilimFree in the 2009 Golden Crocoduck competition, a man with the most ironic moniker on YouTube, GoodScienceForYou, known to aficionados as GSFY, or GoodScienceForYou, as I like to call him. One might expect that with a name like GoodScienceForYou, that some of his pronouncements would be, well, good, or related to science, or at least that there would be some you out there in cyberspace that they would be for. But none of these expectations is met. I'd like to try and show you why not only does he fail as a scientist, I'd also like to show that the warbridge of his mind is comparable to that of our beloved NephilimFree. This will be quite challenging, not simply because Nephy is so utterly insane, but because while GoodScienceForYou's videos contain a lot of pseudoscience, the insanity lies not so much in the videos themselves, but to the comments he makes to those videos across YouTube as well as external forums. I need to give you a bit of background information before I delve into the twilight zone of GoodScienceForYou's mind. He makes the following claims. He has an IQ of 180. He has read 20,000 scientific papers on the theory of evolution. Later he changed that to having read over 200,000 papers with, quote, 20,000 of them in depth, end quote. He claims that the theory of evolution is a religion that he calls evo-delusionism. He claims that he has studied science for more than 40 years, thus trumping NephilimFree's claim of 2 years of internet study. He claims that humans suffer from something called human emotional mental garbage, which he abbreviates HEMG, but that he has freed himself from it. He likes to brag that he has no ego. I'm not sure if he understands the implications of that. And he claims that he is not a creationist. In fact, he says he has no religion at all, even though nearly all of his arguments are straight from the creationist playbook, though he does have a few truly insane ideas at which any creationist would blush. But enough of all that. Let's start with his most insane remark and work backwards, shall we? GoodScienceForYou made a video called Fused Chromosomes ERVs number 5. In this video, he argued that the fusion of human chromosome number 2 never happened.
Two of these chromosomes decided to merge into one chromosome. I go, okay. So what they do in their drawings is they make the one nice and fat. You got a fat one in there, so the fat one obviously was 2 originally. And I go, sideways logic. First of all, there's no such thing as a fused chromosome here. It's just a guess. The virus is in the same spot, but this one has a fused chromosome which never existed. It was always one chromosome there anyway. And humans always had 46 chromosomes, but at one time they had 48 because we believe that we came from a great ape somewhere or some kind of great... They keep changing the name of it all the time.
Now, those statements by themselves show that GoodScienceForYou is not a lot different from other creationists on YouTube. But enough people commented on his video with evidence for the fusion that he realized he was wrong, but he was unwilling to admit it. Instead, he added annotations to the video claiming that he accepted that the fusion happened, but insisted that the question was not if it happened, but when. Why is this so important? Well, since he could not admit there was any evidence for evolution, he developed a theory that the reason human and chimpanzee DNA were so similar is that humans mated with gorillas to produce chimpanzees, and that the fusion of human chromosome number 2 stopped the continued inbreeding. I'll let that comment sink in for a moment. Let's take a look at his misnamed forum that he manages outside of YouTube, the so-called Neutral Evolution Forum. Here is his fully formed hypothesis. Human and gorilla mated and produced the chimp. The gorilla and chimp produced the orangutan. The chimp and the human produced the Neanderthals. Aside from misspelling orangutan and gorilla, he claims that he does not believe any of this. But now let's look at comments that show he strongly supports it. Chimps are most likely the result of human and primate breeding. The DNA and chromosomes support this quite well. The common ancestor was a human. Then we have the ERVs and chromosomes of humans and chimps clearly shows an extreme genetic tie to humans that can only come from humans breeding with primates. He then goes on to claim that even people with PhDs in genetics cannot refute him. I have put this reality of the most likely parent group of chimps is human and ape in front of several PhDs. One PhD in genetics, and he could not come up with any way to dispute this. Of course, if we look at part 4 of his hypothesis, we see the only way science works is through pure logic and reason. Pure logic and reason. Right. I have a question for Mr. Good Science for You. How did you develop your hypothesis that humans and gorillas mated to produce the chimpanzee?
I was there, I saw it.
What about your idea that gorillas and chimps produce the orangutan?
I was there, I saw it.
I'm almost afraid to ask, but where did you get your conjecture that chimps and humans produce the Neanderthals?
I was there, I saw it.
Well, it seems as though Friday nights in Broomfield, Colorado are far more exciting than I would have thought, but then I'm not a party animal like Good Science for You. Interestingly enough, I was open to his evidence. I said if he were willing to have sex with a gorilla to prove his theory, I'd produce a video of the event and send his widow 1/2 of the proceeds, but he never took me up on my generous offer. In all fairness, I should mention that Gusvi has changed his hypothesis, even though it fit all of the evidence and was obvious. Now he thinks that humans are the direct ancestor of all other primates, that chimps and gorillas are simply humans whose DNA has degraded.
Oh my God, how could anybody be that stupid?
Let's take a look at Good Science for You's laboratory. Here we are. You know, like all good scientists, he has a laboratory assistant. And in this picture we can see his lab assistant Igor sitting to the right of the whiteboard and to the left of the toaster. He also does a lot of secret research. Here's a piece of his secret equipment being kept under wraps, being delivered to a secret location in a secret desert. He's a secretive sort of guy. Hey Gusvi, how can you afford all that specialized equipment that you need when you perform your research?
You gotta go buy some swampland in Florida and where they have these endangered species where you can never build on it.
In all fairness, that video was made a few years ago, and who knew what was going to happen with the price of Florida real estate? I won't hold him responsible for that. You know, Gusvi is a real Renaissance man. He's not only a scientist, but he's an artist as well. I wanted to make a comment about his artistic abilities, but I realized I couldn't find a better way to say it than had already been said. In this case, by sardonic skeptic.
Yes, this is the monkey's breast and this is the belly. It's pregnant with a human.
That's your drawing of a monkey. Ironically, if we got an actual monkey to draw a self-portrait, I'm fairly certain it'd be more accurate than that piece of shit.
Okay, he never actually boasted about his artistic abilities, but he does claim to be a musician. Here is his band Havenhead, playing with that combination of musical virtuosity and sublime lyrics infused with great subtlety that only they have mastered. It's their smash hit, #1 on the charts, Human Emotional Mental Garbage. Hit it!
Human emotional mental garbage. Believe first, mental bargain.
Wow. I think Greg Kinn said it best. And who would argue with Greg Kinn? On their SoundClick page, Gusvi writes that people are telling us that Havenhead music is different, that it requires some understanding to get into it. I'll bet it does. I'll bet it also takes some time to get into it as well. A couple of decades at a minimum, I should think. There are sometimes 2 cross melodies and up to 4 separate melodies, all intertwined. Of course, the very best word to describe that is cacophony. He says that people tell him after listening to Havenhead, it's hard to go back and listen to regular music. And for once, we agree. I would imagine that after listening to Havenhead, it would spoil anyone's appreciation of regular music. Okay, not being able to draw is not evidence of insanity, nor is having an inflated opinion of your music. But let's look at how GoodScienceForYou responds to his critics and compare that to NephilimFree. NephilimFree calls people evotards, and I once heard him refer to mainstream geologists as uniformitarianism tards. Quite a tongue twister there. But when GoodScienceForYou gets wound up, he goes right over a cliff. He referred to atheist Crocker X as a goddamn Islamic fascist. And he continued with, "You have already been proven the scorn of humanity. Your support genocide for religious reasons. Your type supports destroying all that was ever good in society. You support the death of children, rape, murder, yada yada yada." It goes on in this vein. Then it was my turn. Because I reply to many of his comments, I am not only a stalker, but apparently a homo-stalker. It is pretty clear that Alan CFA is a homo-stalker. He also called me a child molester, something he later denied, saying, "I did not call you a child molester. You hang out with one, so it is an obvious question." I wonder if I can find the place where he called me a child molester. Nope, that's not it. He just says, "I'm a sex offender" on this one. "Alan CFA, I found a photo of you on the sex offender's website." Place he apparently likes to hang out. Ah, here we go. Alan is a child molester as well as a stalker of GoodScienceForYou. Do you suppose he lied about having a photographic memory and merely forgot that he called me a child molester? Or did he know he used the term and lied about it? Or did he lie about both? Inquiring minds want to know. Oh, and thanks to training in the Siddhapath yoga cult, he never gets angry. "Answer my goddamn question. Were you molested by a priest? Answer the fucking question, you goddamn fucking homo-stalker." He also posted this comment to my channel. "I pray that you die, and soon." I wonder to whom he was praying if he does not have any religion. I also think it's a good thing that he never gets angry, because if that is his idea of being calm and collected, I'd hate to see what anger would look like in him. Let us recap and compare GoodScienceForYou versus NephilimFree. Both are dishonest, but I think that NephilimFree is a beacon of virtue compared to GoodScienceForYou. Both exaggerate their learning and spout pseudoscientific nonsense, but the claim of 42 years of intensive study and 200,000 scientific papers read gives GoodScienceForYou the edge. Perhaps NephilimFree, with his idea that humans mated with the Nephilim, the fallen angels, edges out GoodScienceForYou with his idea that humans mated with gorillas, especially since he's abandoned it in favor of the chimps are the direct descendant of humans hypothesis. I think it's a close race, but the hateful spewing of venom gives the edge to GoodScienceForYou in my opinion, although I understand why others might disagree. Submitted for your approval. The man struggling in the white jacket is Mr. GoodScienceForYou, designer, manufacturer, and agent provocateur of a certain pack of falsehoods he once dreamed would gain him fame and fortune, and which, by way of thanks, kindly ushered him to his new surroundings. But that is of no particular concern to him at the moment, because today is Saturday, February 12th, 2011, and thanks to an overblown ego, a personality with its own flair for the bombastic, and a desperate need for approval, Mr. GoodScienceForYou is on the cutting edge of modern psychotropics. Mr. GoodScienceForYou, who once remarked that having people pay attention to him was his only desire, is about to get his wish. During a long stay in a small town called Inanity, follow any map and you will find him in a padded cell, now and forevermore, being viewed by the curious, listened to by the unimaginative, and admired by the non-existent.
There you have it.